Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Gwadash, Brakatah Yahawah, Brakatah Yahweh Shai, Brakatah Yahawah, Brakatah Yahweh Shai, Brakatah Yahawah, Brakatah Yahweh Shai, Call hello, like Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Gwadash. I want to send double honor to the elders, apostles, and bishops at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, love, and safety is to the hopeful elect out there doing this work. Much love to the scattered elect and to the few sincere women that subscribe to the true doctrine. This is the brother you call him off with the Great Millstone Camp, the branch out here in Omaha, Nebraska. Coming back with another lesson, Lord willing, to feed and to edify the lost sheep of the nation of Israel through the Holy Spirit, Ruach HaKodesh, with the Israelites consisting of so-called Negroes, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans by the seed of your father, no matter what you may look like. And I want to get into this topic, something that I was meditating on, and want to entitle it somewhere along the lines of we need more fear of Yahawah and Yahweh Shai than the fear of the times or the enemy. Something along those lines. Just getting into how, like, as right now, we're currently in Jacob's trouble, all right, where you have, the government through Donald J. Trump, that's stirring up a lot of spirits here in Babylon the Great, a.k.a. America, okay? With the government shutdown still at hand, right, which I believe we're damn near at the 40th day, right, of the government shutdown. You got people losing their jobs to robots, I think there was, recently, north of 48,000 or 50,000 Amazon employees are going to be losing their jobs to this AI technology, okay? And mentioning the government shutdown, you had over 750,000 federal employees who lost their jobs behind being furloughed, okay? So, even especially with these ICE raids, can't forget about them, because, what Trump is doing is he's he's not playing. He's deporting, starting with the northern tribes, with Issachar, having Issachar scared to even show up at the jobs because in fear of being snatched up, all right? And even now the southern tribes, so hell is coming down, but our fear should be centered on Yahawah Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, right? And I want to get this word fear, and I pray this lesson is edifying also, just something that I want to put out there, through the Spirit. So when you get into the word fear in the etymon line, it says a calamity, sudden danger, peril, sudden attack, which is what Jacob's trouble embodies. Okay, sedition among men, bucking up against the government. You've been having a whole lot of that too. You got, individuals bucking up against the government because they're not getting the benefits. Talking about how they're going to go into the stores and steal, take this and that and the third because they don't have the money. Okay. Once again, some of the things that I mentioned with these ICE raids, that's sudden fear and an attack. All right. Or sudden danger and sudden attack, or an ambush. Is another definition for this word, fear. All right. Now, there's another, it says state of being afraid, uneasiness, caused by possible danger, which that is coming down the pipe. All right. But this is the definition for fear that we ought to fall into, those of us that understand the times that we're in. Right? It says the meaning, feeling of dread or reverence for God or for the Most High. Okay? Let's get a couple of precepts. Right? And this is a very important one, because this is going to be important in this time, in time of Jacob's trouble. I'm going to get two precepts right quick. This is the book of Sirach 1 verse 14. It says, to fear the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and it was created with the faithful in the womb. So those that fear the Lord, those that were ordained to call upon the true names, those that were given the wisdom to understand the times, to break down these precepts, to give the sense unto the Most High's people, being the Israelites, It says that this was created with them in the womb. All right. Now, you have men that come into this thing, as the scriptures tell us. What is that? 2nd Ezra, the 8th chapter. It tells us that there'll be many created, but the world to come for few. It says there be some that are called and some be chosen. That's what I was looking for. There's some that are called, but few are chosen. Right. So you may have an individual who's teaching the word, understands the scriptures, able to break them down, but may not be of the elect. Okay. And ultimately, the ones that are not of the elect are those who did not have the fear of Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi. Okay? Because it had the individual that said the person had fear of Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi, they would have dealt with Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi said to do, right? Which is the prophesied word. It says, Matthew 24:13, enduring unto the end. Okay? So, and to endure to the end, that takes like blind faith in Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi. As it says in Hebrews 11:1, the faith is the evidence of things the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Okay, it says the blind. It says the blind. I'm thinking about the book of Eli. I was watching the book of Eli last night, or the night before last. It says we walk by faith and not by sight. So the times that we're in, we have faith via through the wisdom that has been given unto us from Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi to endure to the end, as it says in Isaiah 33:6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord Yahawah is his treasure. That's what's going to get us out of here. Okay, that's what's going to preserve us. All right. So it says this is the strength of our salvation. So, you'll hear a lot of brothers, especially like the elders and apostles, different of the camp heads here at Great Millstone. You'll hear them speak about gathering the oil, right? According to the book of Matthew 25, where you have 5 wise virgins and 5 foolish. Goes into how we treat this truth and how we treat the word of Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi, how we treat our brethren. Are we showing charity? Are we loving on the body? You know what I'm saying? Those, and are we leaning on wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to truly be this stability? Which that stability goes into the Hebrew word amawan, meaning faith. So this is going to be a determining factor of. It's really this is how we put our fear of Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi on display, right? Which when you go into the book of Sirach, the 19th chapter, in the 18th verse, it says, the fear of the Lord is the first step to being accepted of him, and wisdom obtaineth his love. Because it says that he loveth none but him that dwelleth with wisdom. So you can have wisdom. Anyone can have wisdom. But are we going to utilize that wisdom in the form of showing our fear? All right? Because it says that what? Because we mentioned faith. All right, this is the book of the book of James, chapter 2 and verse 14. It said, what doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he hath faith and have not works? Can faith save him? Right? Meaning that with the faith that we have in Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi, there comes an action with it. As it says, to love the word and word and deed. Love Yahawah in word and deed. Word and deed. In 1 John 3, verse 18, it says, my little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. In deed and in truth. So I was wording it wrong, but that's it. All right. And a deed is an action. And that's also something that, the Apostle Tahar on down. I say specifically what Elder Apostle Tahar said. He said that the Great Millstone is a working camp. We work for Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi, that our fear may be in Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi in the time of Jacob's trouble. All right. was that let's get this. And I pray this is all coming together and making sense. Okay. It says 2 Timothy chapter 1 in verse 7, it says, "For the Most High have not given us the spirit of fear." Right? Wait, but hold on. It says that we ought to fear the Most High. That's the beginning of wisdom, right? And then this is where some individuals will get tripped up and start to think that maybe the Bible contradicts itself. But it doesn't, okay? Because the Most High have not given us the fear of the world. Okay? He have not given us the fear of the times to come. Why? Because we're supposed to trust on him anyway. Okay? The Most High, he's going to deliver his elect men and those who are deemed to be preserved from these times. He's gonna keep them from the said perils. All right, that's going into the book of Job. He's gonna keep them from the said perils, man. Okay, or no, Salakia, 2 Peter. They should be preserved from the said perils and the dangers, man. All right, I think I'm still, no, it's not in Peter's. It's somewhere in the Apocrypha. Okay, but let me get this precept again. It says, "But the Most High have not given us a spirit of fear." Let's get into that word fear to see what it means. Okay, the word fear is Strong's G1167, which is Delia. Can't play it. If I play it, it's gonna shut down the audio. But it says, excuse me, timidity, fearfulness, cowardice. Because also another definition that I read before about the word fear is to take risk. And without risk, how can we prove our faith in Yahawah, right? And that taking risk, that means doing something that's uncomfortable. Changing your whole mindset that you grew up with. It's uncomfortable because we were all used to a certain way. We're all used to living without boundaries. So to have to take that chance, and this is just one example, a minor example, very important though. But to take that chance, and a lot of people are not willing to come unto Yahawah with a changing of mind because they fear that they're losing. They're going to miss out on what's going on in the world. They're going to miss out on celebrating Christmas and going to birthday parties and, going to the hookah bars and whatever it is they used to do because this is what they're comfortable with, and it's a much more beautiful feeling to know that your fear of Yahawah is rooted in his wisdom. It's rooted in his holy scriptures and rooted in the truth, okay? Because it says that in what is that? In Isaiah 29:13, it spoke about the fear of the Most High being taught by the precepts of men. Men that call upon a different God, such as God or Christ or Jesus, all right, or Allah, whatever. Your fear of the Heavenly Father is not taught by true means. It's taught in the name of a deity for the most part, or or it says the precept of men, something that for their own benefit, whether it be to get money, what I'm saying, or just to have a large congregation. That's something that IUIC does. Okay, but the fear of the Lord, teaching in the fear of the Lord is blowing that trumpet of prophecy, talking about the MOTB. This is why you hear Great Millstone always ad nauseum talking about the MOTB, because this is the times that we're coming into. Hey, and look, there's another thing that Trump came out and did. Let's actually pull that up, because there's another way he's trying to administer this digital age. He's trying to usher in this digital age a little bit faster. All right, because they're talking about giving out stimulus checks in the midst of a dwindling society, or where you got the government shut down, which is hurting the economy more than it's helping. Okay, it's really just helping to crash the economy totally, man. Right, so this is something right here. It says, could South Carolina residency a $2,000 Trump dividend check? And what to know, because the more money that you're printing to put out there, the more you're devaluing that dollar. So no, Trump is working a work to minister in this digital age. And everywhere you look up, the one of the beloved brethren, the brother Yahawah, he mentioned something very adamant as far as this digital ID that's right here in America already. When you go in Utah, okay, they're doing it in Utah, and as far as I've seen since talking to the brother, that is the only state that's doing it. But the fact that it's right here in America, as we're looking at the rest of the world, such as the UK and who is that just Jamaica, that are looking to use this digital ID. Sweden, they got thousands of people already got the MOTB, all right? Which the digital ID is not the MOTB, right? But it's a form of it, okay? It's not the Revelation 13 verse 16, but it is a form of it. It's a gradual step towards it, all right? And this is what we look at, but our fear. Going back to the fear, because there's going to be a lot of people not going to be able to eat. Revelation 13, where it says that many shall be killed, many shall be separated. If you don't have this ID, you don't eat. You don't get no stamps. You don't eat. You can't feed your family. But this is the times that Yahawah Shai said that we were going to be into, and we were going to have trust in him. Let's get this in, and I don't know, I'll probably close it out here. I feel like I'm kind of dragging the point out, because I believe the point is made, that our fear is supposed to be rooted in Yahawah Shai, right? This is Jeremiah 17, verse 5. It says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahawah, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart is departed from the Lord Yahawah." Which that's not it. That's beautiful, but that's not it. I wanted verse 7. It says, "Blessed is the man that trusted in the Lord Yahawah, in whose hope the Lord Yahawah is." Okay. And what is trust? What does it mean to trust? Which is bata, to trust in, to be bold, to have confidence, be confident, to feel safe, be careless, right? So going back to that 2 Timothy 1:7, the Most High have not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind, which a sound mind is a sober mind, right? And a sober mind, doesn't always necessarily mean off of alcohol, but your mind is whole. You know what I'm saying? You understand what's going on. You're pure from the wickedness of men. Your mind is stayed upon Yahawah Shai. You're in your right. You got how they say, he got a good head on his shoulders. That's what the elect have, good heads on their shoulders, because of the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahawah Shai. Okay. So we have to trust in the Lord, and it says what, that the name of Yahawah Shai is a strong tower. The righteous run into it, and they are safe. Because that's what the only thing that's going to save us in the last times. This is why our fear needs to be at. Okay. But if you feel like you don't have that fear, let's get this precept. No, I'll close it out after this. Then, it's good to pray that we have the fear of Yahawah Shai in these last days. Okay? Now, this is James 1:5. It said, "If any man lack wisdom, let him ask of the Most High, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given unto him." So that's specifically talking about wisdom, but how much more the fear? Because that's a part of it. As we read in a couple of precepts, that fear and wisdom are linked together to be accepted of Yahawah Shai. So I know how much more to ask for more fear of Yahawah Shai, and not fear of this world, that we may have a sound mind, that we may move according to his will. That's what it's about, moving according to his will. So with that being said, I'm going to leave it there. I pray this was edifying, man. Let our fear be in Yahawah Shai, and not in the world. All right? So with that being said, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahawah, Bahasham Yahawah Shai, Bahasham Rakha HaKodash, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahawah Shai, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahawah Shai, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahawah Shai, call Allah Yahawah, Bahasham Yahawah Shai, Bahasham Rakha HaKodash. Double honor to the elders, the apostles, and great millstone who were well. Peace, love, and safety is to the elect. Shalom.